Alright guys, I got my Xbox with Xbox Media Center on it here, and I got it all unhooked for a reason, and that is that it finally gave up the ghost. After many years of great service, I must say it makes a great media center, but it's finally gotta go. So I did get myself one of these. This is the Patriot Box Office. And these things are great little media boxes, and you know, they're really cheap. These right now are selling on Amazon.com for about $69.99. Taking a look at the side of the box, basically almost anything that you would want to play, listen to, or view, you can probably do it on this thing. Okay, so box opens up like so. Looks like the actual media player itself is on top, and all the accessories and other things in the bottom. I was really surprised to see that this comes with an HDMI cable. I mean, a lot of times you buy a Blu-ray player, it doesn't even come with an HDMI cable. USB cable. Standard AV cables is what I'll be using, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view. Obviously the power adapter comes with it. One of the really nice things about this is the remote control. Comes with a very nice remote control. Batteries. Screws if you want to mount a hard drive inside the media player. And software. Take a look at the player itself. Gives you an idea of its size. Fairly compact. Now, I was looking at this or the Western Digital Live HD, which is another popular model, and they both have pros and cons. This will play a few formats that the Western Digital MyLive will not play. This also has, in my opinion, a better remote. The remote with the Western Digital is very basic, very limited amount of buttons on it. Also, you can't put a hard drive in the Western Digital Live HD. It only has one USB port in which you can plug in an external hard drive. And as you can see, this thing's actually made out of aluminum. So it's got a brushed aluminum shell. It looks really nice. Got the PBO Core HD media player printed on the side, both sides. Now on the front, other than the basic fact we have some lights, we do have one USB port, and on the back we have obviously the AV jacks have some sort of protector on them. The SPDIF TOSLINK optical output for sound. We have the HDMI, and we have two more USB ports. And most importantly, we have the network adapter, or the network port. You can buy some cheaper, you know, maybe $40 or $50, like the M-Box, I think they're called, media players that you have to hook a hard drive up to, or put a hard drive in them and put media on them hard drive. You can't just stream stuff off the network, and that's mainly what I want to do. That's the most important thing for me, is I'm just going to have this hooked up to the router, sharing the files on my Windows computer, and just streaming most of the stuff on there. Now with two USB ports on here, you can actually plug in a wireless USB if you wanted to get wireless networking on here, and you could still plug in a flash drive or an external hard drive, both at the same time. So that's why they have not just one but two USB ports on here. So really a lot of amazing features. Plus, like I said, you can put a hard drive inside of this if you want to. You don't have to. You can play everything off external drives, or you can stream it off a network. So you don't have to put a hard drive in this at all. I'm not going to actually myself, but it does open up, takes any standard 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. So anyways, let's hook it up and take a look at the menu system and see how it works. Alright, so I got the Patriot Box Office hooked up, and what you see here, all these movies, those are on my computer, so those are being streamed over the network. It's just hardwired in with the network cable. And the biggest problem is that you can't compare this menu system to the Xbox Media Center, where you could see 20 or more movies on the screen at once. You could have the cover art, and you could really fly through that menu, or through that list. And on here it's a little bit slower, as you can see. So you don't want to have too many movies in one directory, and I at one point had like probably 300 movies in one directory. So you basically want to organize them a little bit better, which I'm working on doing. But let me just play Tron Legacy. Now when you click on a movie or a video file, it does start playing it in the little preview thing on the right side of the screen. There's not a lot of customizing that you can do. I'd like it if you could say, you know what, I don't want to see the preview thing. I'd rather see more movies in the list. But you can't do that. There's really nothing you can customize. So that kind of sucks. Unless, of course, someone makes their own firmware. There's been a lot of firmware updates for this, and at one point the firmware update did change the way the menu and the icons look. And it's open source now. So there's, people always making changes to this thing. So who knows what could happen. But as far as playing things, I've tested a lot of movies and episodes I've downloaded, different formats, and it's played everything. So let's play a Tron Legacy here. Now you do have a volume on the remote, so there is like a software volume in it. So we'll turn that up. I honestly want to say the picture quality is pretty good, but it's not as good as the Xbox Media Center.
The grid. A digital frontier. I tried to picture clusters of information as they moved through the computer. What did they look like? Ships, motorcycles? Were the circuits like freeways? I kept dreaming of a world I thought I'd never see. And then, one day...
You got in.
That's right, man. I got in.
There's not as much fine-tuning and tweaking that you can do with the audio and video. But like I said, it's not bad. It's just, I was spoiled with the Xbox Media Center in a lot of regards. The menu system, flying through, screen cover or box art and stuff like that was amazing. And it's definitely not anything like that on here. But, it plays everything. It's played every movie that I've thrown at it. But anyways, let's go to music, because obviously this thing plays music as well. You can filter if you want it to be showing movies or music or photos. So I have to go back a directory to my music. Once again, this is all streaming off the network, and it's doing a fine job at that. And music, same issue. I've got hundreds of albums, and that makes it hard to find stuff. It's long and tedious to get through this list. Yeah, unless there's some way to page up, page down, or search by alphabet, which maybe there is. There's a lot of buttons on this controller, and the instruction manual for this is like a page long. It's like one of those quick setup manuals. So I haven't really looked to read the online manual or anything. Obviously, there are a lot of buttons on here. And some of them do certain things. You can make favorites lists and stuff like that. So I haven't fully got into all that yet, I guess. Music, it plays pretty much all music files, like I mentioned, especially FLAC files, which is awesome. But let's see here. This is a good song. that's the Patriot Box Office, and I do have some complaints about it, but overall they are just minor complaints because I've been coming from the Xbox Media Center, which has a lot more, you know, there's a lot more you can customize, and, you know, an awesome menu system for going through large lists of movies and music with all the cover art, the ability to fly through it alphabetically, and just a really fast responsive menu system. You're not going to get that in a portable. This is just a portable player under $100. It really does compare with the Western Digital My Live HD. Plays more formats than that and the Xbox Media Center. Like I said, my Xbox Media Center was running into the point where with certain MKV files at a certain resolution it couldn't keep up with, where obviously this thing can play even 720p and 1080p video. Played everything I threw at it, and that's the important thing. It does play all your media files. You can put a hard drive in it, you can play them off a USB drive, you can play them off a network, a wired network, or plug in a wireless Wi-Fi adapter. So it's pretty versatile, it's really compact, it's really well built. I definitely recommend it, because you gotta remember this thing is under $100. And I know there's the popcorn movie players, or, you know, some of the high-end ones, they're 3 times the price. They do a better system with the menus and the organizing of your movies, but like I said, that's a minor complaint. I still recommend this thing. Actually, I highly recommend this thing, especially if you have no other means of playing all the movies and TV shows and music that you download off your computer onto your TV and your stereo for 80 bucks, or even less, quite frankly, right now. Like I said, on Amazon.com, they're selling for $69.99. Quite frankly, for that price, you can't really go wrong, and it's got a lot of features despite, you know, some downfalls. So, still recommended.